All right, our walk-in freezer is temping just fine. However, they are reporting that there's water all over the floor. They've cleaned it up. This is just from last night. So this outlet controls a heating element that's wrapped up in here that keeps this pipe from freezing, so that when it drains, when it defrosts, the evaporator fills the pan and then the water can leave. If this is off or tripped, then that's frozen solid. Our drain pan is filled with ice, which it's hard to see, but it is actually plugged up with ice in the center and not draining. So let's see electrically. All right, winner 31 heat tape. Okay, so the breaker's tripped. I don't want to just reset the breaker. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off. We don't know whether it's the outlet or the heater. I'm going to change. So this should be a GFI outlet, first of all, for certain. This should be a GFI outlet. I'm going to unplug the heater. Okay. Now I'm going to turn on the breaker, and if the breaker comes on, then we're going to assume it's the heater, and we'll move on to further tests. Oh, gotcha. No worries. Gotta stay on the ready. All right, ready? Boom. So it's on and it stays on. They said they tried to reset it this morning and it tripped right away. So bad heater. But I'm also going to change that outlet because that needs to be a GFI outlet. Okay, so before I get too far, I slit the insulation. I guess to each their own. PVC as a drain in a freezer doesn't seem smart to me. Also the heat strip, so you can see the heat electrical. I've always seen and personally installed it wrapped around, so it actually, you know, keeps the whole thing from freezing, not just the top. But if you look over here, right, as the wire comes down the way, it gets to here and it's completely stripped back. The insulation's gone. And so when water and ice gets across those two, it's obviously just gonna short it out. So definitely bad heat tape. So we have to cut this off, rewrap it. I'll keep you posted. Okay, so out here you can really see how mangled this heater was. Okay, this is exactly what I just pulled out. This is the exact heater I just pulled out of here. And why do I keep saying it's the exact heater? Look at what comes on it. It's on the thing. You have to remove it. No regular outlets. Has to be a GFI. Has to. And the installer was just like, oh, I don't care what that says. Let's plug it into a regular outlet. Terrible. Also, you can see there's blood. Byproduct of working in the freezer. Maybe it's just because I'm old and brittle. But, you know, your hands go numb and you don't realize that you're knocking them into things, and then you get little splits on the ends of your finger and you bleed. So make sure you get sanitizer and we wipe all of this down and decontaminate things. But yeah. Before I close it up, I just want to give you an idea of what I meant. So we're going to wrap it around. Think about it. They had it sitting just on the top of the pipe, which is about the dumbest thing they could have done. If they're going to be lazy, they should have put it on the bottom of the pipe. So at least it kept the water at the bottom moving. So the way I've got it you know, candy caned around all the way down and then electrical taped to keep it making contact with the PVC. Then I've got this nice, this isn't Home Depot grade. This is actually a much more high density foam. I had to slit it because it didn't come slit. So I slid it, worked it on. And I'm gonna go ahead and tape it all shut. And then I'm gonna double insulate that point right there. And then we should be up and running. It can be the real easy parts of things that are a real pain. No, I'm not using zip ties to hold this on because we're in a freezer and they're just gonna get brittle and break. But I am using zip ties to hold the insulation as tight as possible while I wrap it. And as I wrap it tight, I'm gonna cut the zip tie. You know, I'm gonna cut that one, wrap it, get to that point, cut it, wrap it, because the zip ties are actually gonna be problematic with all the little tips hanging. They're gonna wanna cut the tape and everything else, but I need the extra set of hands to be the zip ties, holding everything tight all the way up while I wrap it. All right, so after much ado, she's taped up. It's double insulated there because it was really tough to get a nice seal. So not only did I seal it, but then I put another one and wrapped it again just to try and stop the air intrusion. So there you go. Turn this back on. That's a wrap. I regretfully filmed this right now to show you that there's something I should have done. I should have trusted my gut. We put this in a defrost so that we could really clear out the line and drain it. I'm gonna put my finger in here. So the pan is empty, the drain is clearing. The drain line's clear. That plastic is broken. The PVC plastic is cracked. So while it's draining, it's dripping everywhere. I said when I first stripped this, PVC drain line in a freezer didn't seem smart to me. I didn't bother checking that the PVC wasn't broken. So all of that work done, ultimately is gonna need to be undone, and I'm gonna need to replace that with copper. The misadventures of learning. So here's the scheme. We've removed all of the old. I took my heater cable. I actually fed it through the hole first. I'm gonna do one continuous pipe all the way out of this freezer, and I'm gonna heat it all the way through. We're gonna bring this in, we're gonna measure. All right, these are just shark bite fittings, so you don't need a torch, you don't need to whatever, they just slip on. So this will be pitched just enough to run. And on the other side, I cut the PVC, and I'm putting a fitting with a shark bite to tap into it. A new copper line, shark bite, shark bite, shark bite, wrapped really tight. So now we'll put the insulation on there and we'll be good to go. So we've got the copper run through and insulated, wrapped, secured, and then it runs clear through to the cooler, protrudes. I insulated it through to this side, and then I've actually got the heating cable running all the way to here just because I had the slack. So we did pour 6 cups of water down to make sure the pitch was correct because it's not great, but it drained. So like I said, you can see the angle. It is barely pitched. That's what I was worried about. Would I be able to keep enough angle on it? So now we should never have to fix that drain line again. So this time it's a wrap.